Alrighty, so welcome back. This is another AOTLog, and I found more content to do with this little series I have, and I'm actually very excited for just kind of whatever comes out of this and all that kind of jazz. But yeah, so what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be going over the first 3 chapters of the rewrite of the Rumbling arc of Attack on Titan called Operation Usurper. And this is a group of people that came together to rewrite and I guess just rewrite the Rumbling arc and kind of like, it's not a complete like rejar or anything. It's kind of going back over the chapter. A lot of it is the same, but there are key moments that I'm going to be discussing that are changed, and some things rearranged, some things added. The added things are actually like drawn in. I'm very excited for this. Like I said earlier, these are the first 3 chapters, basically of the beginning of the Rumbling arc, starting from chapter 124, and then 125, 126, and it's going to go until the end of the series. And yeah, I'm going to put down the links to find their Twitter page and the Wattpad that they have up right now. And eventually this is also going to go on the Read S&K site. I'm not sure when, but you can find updates on their Twitter. So today we're going to be going over the changes and just the rewrite in general and seeing what they changed in the story. So in 124 we begin as usual, and the walls are falling down, the Colossal Titans are marching on. We see characters reacting, and everything's pretty normal and the same. But it doesn't take long for us to get into the added content of the story. We get a page of Falco had his dream that happens later in the story of a Titan flying above the clouds. Now, I like this a lot because it gives more foreshadowing to the whole situation with Falco becoming a flying jaw, a big bird Titan. And makes it not come completely out of nowhere. And, we get to see that, he had this dream, and yeah, I think it's really cool. I also find it interesting that we see Zeke on this page, and he is, he's molding the sand in 137, or I guess this would have been at end 136. Okay, so I'm going to describe the page, and so the page contains, we see the bird Titan flying above the sky like a wing. We see Falco, a shot of Pass and Feather kind of gliding above, and then we see Zeke playing with the sand that was shown in 136. Oh, and I just noticed that the feather fell right there. That's interesting. That's an interesting note. And I think that also gives more kind of context to that. This is connected to Zeke, kind of just in how, because this is a Beast Titan power, and Falco didn't get a Beast Titan, he got a Jaw Titan, but when he was injected with Zeke's spinal fluid, that was the Beast Titan spinal fluid. So it appears when he got turned into a shifter, it mixed in and we got a hybrid. So I think this is just just a little bit more foreshadowing or hinting that that's kind of what happened and all that jazz. And so we transition to discussion with what they're going to do with Falco. And this is the part where it definitely changes quite a bit. Because this changes the character of Connie. And personally, I find it to be a very positive change. They go on talking. Jean, is talking about how maybe this is a good thing, finally going to be free from all this. And so then we have the discussion of what they're going to do with Falco. Jean says, "We can feed him to Commander Pixis." And then Connie just says, "He's just a kid. Besides, what about my mom? She's been waiting at home as a Titan for years. It's kind of normal." And then we see Armin say, "Connie, Jean, we need to focus here. Falco is an important bargaining chip for us. At the very least, we need to keep him safe. We're not feeding him to anyone just yet. For now, we just wait. Once Marley has been neutralized, we should consider feeding Falco to someone important. So," and then Connie says, "Are you saying my mother isn't someone important? She hasn't moved from the same spot in years, Armin. We're finally almost done with this bloody conflict. And all you can think about is making a new Titan to best suit some strategy. I want to save her more than anything, but this, I'm making the decision for us. We're not feeding this kid to anyone. This is different because this part of the story, we have Connie have a clear conviction to feed Falco to his mother. But in this rewrite, we see that, he's kind of grown from all this, and it's not going to bring up like any kind of unnecessary conflict, and it kind of gets rid of that conflict later on. But when we get to that, we'll get to it. So yeah, Connie doesn't want to feed him. I think that's very cool characterization, and while I do see in 124 the reason why he was so distraught, and he was like, wow, we finally got a chance to get my mom back. But I think in this one, he's a little bit more clear-headed and realizes, if I bring my mom back, what's going to be the point? She's going to die in 13 years again, It's just going to be keep on, fueling the conflict. So he's just kind of like, we're not going to feed him to anybody. So he takes off, and it pretty much goes unchanged for quite a while. And then we get to the point where Falco puts a gun to Yelena's head. And then we transition back to Connie and Falco. Again, I think this is cool. This is quite a long stretch of added content, and I'm quite fond of it. Okay, so, and then Connie says, "Hey, wake up. Are you okay, kid?" Falco says, "What happened? Did I hit my head?" Connie's like, "You should take it easy. The battle's over. You don't need to get up." Zeke screamed between you and Titan. After that, the Jaw Titan sacrificed himself to bring it back. Obviously Falco looks distressed. Mr. Galliard, but Connie reassures him. He's like, "It's not your fault. That was what the Jaw decided to do. If anything, we should have stopped that furry bastard before he could turn anyone into Titans. So don't feel responsible." I like this, because it does, again, paint Connie to be a little bit more clear-headed and, understand and grasp a little bit more of the situation. And it definitely it makes it a lot better for when he does need to team up with the others later on. It shows that he has a good understanding of these aren't bad people, and he doesn't need to focus on the innocent people like Falco. This wasn't his fault. It was, the Beast Titan's fault that this even happened to him in the first place. So, then we see Falco. He goes on about his dream. He's like, "I had a strange dream. He's flying like a bird." Connie says, "A dream? Felt like more than a dream, like it was something I had done before." So, that makes it clear it's a memory of some kind. So, clearly, like a past inheritor of the Beast Titan had a fighting Titan, and that's kind of what we got. So this kind of helps be a lot more like, he acknowledges that he had this dream a lot earlier than when he initially had. And then we see Gabby comes in, and obviously Connie's just kind of like, this is the girl that killed his best friend, But following them is Mr. Blouse. So he's like, "It's okay." Connie says, "That's good to hear. There's something to take care of now, so I'll be leaving. You should stay here until it's safe." And he says he's going to go visit the family, and Gabby says thank you. And I think Connie sees here that, she's obviously not a terrible person that's can't be forgiven, What she did is hard to forgive, but, she's just a kid. And I think it's cool that Connie clearly has some sense of that. Then we get a dialogue change. When Gabby's kind of breaking down, talking to Armin. And I like this too. He says, "Wait a second, Gabby, I think we can help," and referring to, the world being crushed, because, he doesn't want to do all that. He doesn't want to let that go through. But he says, "It won't be easy, but I have an idea. It's a gamble, though." And that's an interesting point. It's a gamble. So we kind of get more of this Armin becoming more like Erwin. And I think this is a much needed thing. I think it's very, very important to kind of develop this side of Armin more, instead of kind of pushing that a lot further down the line during the battle. I think a lot of people can agree that Armin kind of got shafted in the final arc, until the last few chapters. And that's really unfortunate, because, he's part of the main trio. So I think it's cool that we're starting to get some characterization of him kind of developing more and being a little bit more confident in his skills as somebody that could be a potential future commander. So yeah, I'm happy with that bit. And then we get to, Annie on the floor after getting unhardened, and that is chapter 124. So now we're going to continue to chapter 125. Okay, so now as usual, we see chapter 125 play out, the effects of the rumbling on parody. So we see kind of like a little bit of conflict between people, and as we go on, we kind of get to the part where Hitch starts eventually finds Annie, and that all plays out like usual. And that's chapter 125. So a lot less changes. There wasn't any added content, just a few dialogue changes, which is completely fine. Chapter 125 didn't really need much to it. So next we go to the more controversial chapter among pretty much a lot of Attack on Titan fans, which is chapter 126. So you can expect this one's going to have quite a few changes to it. So we begin this chapter off, we see what happened with Hanji and Levi. So that goes on like usual. So we come back and we see kind of like the talk between Hanji, Levi, Peak, and Magath. And that's all normal. And then we start seeing the others coming together. And then after that, we get to see Connie again. He says this, seems nothing has changed. Damn it, he's back in his village of Rigako. He's starting to remember his mom's words. Please become an amazing soldier that protects everyone. Sangi, Martin, Dad, I will make you proud. I promised. We see him get there. He says, we've been through so much of the years. I'm glad I can call you all my friends, And then before that is a little picture with him and Jean at the railroad. He says, I'm sorry, everyone. And he takes down the curtains that were covering up his mother. He says, all these years and you still haven't moved. Mom, I'm sorry I wasn't able to save you. It's tragic. I like this a lot more. It's just sad, He wasn't able to save his mom, but, he still managed to become a good soldier. He didn't kill a kid. And I like this a lot better because in 126, the original one, what makes him realize all that was Armin, and I don't know, it just felt very rushed in the original, and I like that this one has Connie kind of come to that conclusion on his own, and I think that fits better for his character. He says, this might be the last time with the world blooming and all. Everything we've trained for doesn't compete with what happens on the battlefield. He says, to be honest, I'm scared. What would you normally say, Mom? What should I do? Mom, I don't understand. How can I be a good soldier when I'm surrounded by people that are special? Erwin, Jean, Sasha, Armin, Mikasa, Eren. If you were still here, what would you do, Sasha? And I like this, again, because he's remembering Sasha. I think that's a nice little thing to just have, Just kind of little character moments like that. Just moments where he's remembering his friends, and especially Sasha, because, after Sasha had died, we don't really see too much of Connie thinking about Sasha, which really just kind of sucks. And he's starting to reminisce about when he first came. He says, the first time I came back, you said, welcome home. I wasn't imagining things. From now on, I'm going to do whatever I can to be a better soldier, not for anyone else but myself. Isn't that why I joined the Survey Corps? This is goodbye, Mom. I think that's perfect. I think that is a perfect last interaction with his mother. It just works. It works a lot better than what had happened, and it justifies its page numbers in this chapter. In the original chapter, it just kind of felt pointless. It just felt like it didn't really do much for the character, and it doesn't necessarily have to further the plot like this one. This one didn't further the plot necessarily, but it was just a character moment to kind of help with Connie's character, and I think it did a really good job. So props to the people at the rewrite for doing that. And then we get to the moment where Armin and Connie, they've come back together, and then we see Annie. And this was another controversial point, and I think they did really well with this one. In the original, it's kind of played up to be a lot more comedic, and it's kind of it's Isayama's style. He has this weird sense of humor, and I can enjoy it sometimes, but it just felt very unnecessary for this kind of interaction, and I don't know, it just didn't work for me, and it didn't work for a lot of people. So we see them, they notice Annie. She says, long time no see. She's not in the middle of eating pie. And then she holds up her hand with the fingers. She's like, don't make me do it. And then we see Connie get defensive. You know, he takes Armin, he's like, we gotta get out of here. So he's getting angry. But Hitch comes in and he's like, you know, the line was real long, so let Armin and Connie, you know. We see a hand holding a sword, you know, assuming that's Connie. We got Annie holding up her hand. They're both ready to go down. And then, you know, Hitch tells them to calm down. Hitch is right. That's what Annie says. Though, just to be clear, I'd have no issue with transforming in this place. I have no intention of being captured. Not again. I just want to talk. Connie's angry. He's like, how dare you show your face again here? Are you with Marley again? Armin's trying to calm him down. But Annie's just like, I just want to protect my home and see my father again. So please, we need to work together. Connie's like, your father? And then he kind of remembers a moment with his mother. I don't like it, but fine, we should work together to stop Aaron. Now, I think this is a lot better of an interaction. Way better, you know. It shows clear, just like in the original, Connie was just too okay with Annie. And made jokes and, you know, all that. It just didn't feel like it fit the tone correctly. But this feels better, you know, there's a lot more tension. And then it comes down to understanding and being like, yeah, you know what, we gotta work together. Was it perfect? I think the majority of it was perfect. I think the little ending bit where he's just like, ugh, I don't like it, but fine, we should work together to stop her. And I think a few more dialogue bits there would have helped to kind of make that kind of last a little bit longer and not make it too sudden. But overall, that is a way, way better interaction to me. And so we keep going and we see everything play out just like before. And then comes the next part that was controversial in the original. And I think this one does a very good job at kind of keeping the same feeling, but like doing it and making it make sense, you know? So we see, you know, they're all getting Reiner to get up and all that. He says, where are we going? Connie says, there's no time, we're going now. He's like, where? And instead of Connie saying to save the world, we have Falco saying to save our home. I find this to be pretty much perfect. I think the dialogue is what really irked a lot of people, and especially it coming from, you know, Connie. So I think it makes a lot more sense to get, you know, Reiner on their side by saying to save our home, and that coming from Falco, you know, somebody that shares that home and that Reiner cares about, to be like, we gotta go, we gotta team up, this is all to save our home. And, you know, it's more personal that way, and it's not saying like, we gotta save the world now, you know? No, saving their home would create a product of saving the world. So it's not like their main priority, but they're gonna stop Aaron to save their home, which in turn saves the world. So I just think this small change made this, and like just this little part of the story much better. So yeah, that's Operation Usurper so far, 124 through 126. The next chapters are going to be the port chapters. I'm very excited because I think they're doing a fantastic job. Like I said, their stuff is going to be, their links are going to be in the description. And yeah, I'm excited. Props to the people working on this. I think it's doing fantastic. They're doing fantastic work to just tweak it, you know? They're not completely changing up the story, just kind of adding a few things, changing up some dialogue, just to, you know, make it better. You know, they're not trying to discredit the author like they say. You know, they wanted to do something fun and something others will enjoy. And I think a lot of fans will enjoy this project because it's simple and it just fixes a lot of the issues that us fans did have with the Rumbling arc, and, you know, especially this portion of the story of after the past chapter. So yeah, that's it. That's all I got. So I'll put their Twitter link and the Wattpad links below so you can go read it for yourself. And then yeah, that's all I got. See you later.